Hey, what is going on, guys? Caleb here, aka Awelesslife. Welcome back to your brand new video. Halo Infinite. Wow, this is a lot to talk about in today's video, but I mean, a lot of stuff we got to be able to handle. We have the return of the classic art style with a brand new engine built from the ground up. And we have some interesting stuff we're going to be talking about today, so stick around. Alright guys, so I am here joined by OFSREagle. Go check out his channel, link will be in the description. So, Eagle, what did you think by the graphics and the new engine for Halo Infinite?
I honestly didn't recognize it. I was watching it on my phone when they aired it, and as I was watching it, I tuned in as soon as Xbox started their E3 press conference. I launched it, and what I was seeing, I thought I didn't know what I was seeing. I thought it looked amazing. The first thing that I thought was the realism was overwhelming, and then I saw the animals and stuff. I'm like, is this like Skyrim? I'm like, wait, no, Bethesda's later, and I thought they would launch with Halo, and then as it progressed, I thought, okay, I guess not. What could this be? And then I saw the Warthog traveling over the hill, and my first thought was Halo Wars. I had never played the game, but I thought this looks a lot like Halo Wars, but just really good. And then when it cut to the shot of Master Chief, I just I didn't know what to think. I
Yeah.
and especially then with Halo Infinite, that title crawl, and then we see the Halo ring. I just thought like just I just wonder, like, I have no idea. That was my first impression, but the graphics overall just felt like
A different
insane.
game.
But the moment I saw Master Chief's helmet, I'm like, wow, this is throwback. That was my first thought. I thought it was Halo Wars from the art style. Once you saw the helmet, I'm like, okay, this is we're going back to basics. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like whenever I started watching it, and I actually was like, "Oh, this is a different game." So the whenever they aired it live, I actually wasn't paying attention because I thought it was going to be a totally different game because I mean, it wasn't so much that the graphics were good because I expected and I still expect the graphics to be insanely good, and we now know that they should be really good based on the new engine. But I didn't. I had no idea that it was Halo until I looked over, and like right whenever I looked over and saw it, it was Master Chief holding his helmet. I'm like, wait a minute, did this just start? So then I paid attention, then it ended. I was like, oh crap. So then I had to go to Twitter and I had to look at it. So like it really like it shocked me a lot. Um, and it was
yeah,
so
there,
cinematic that I wasn't like with all the animals and stuff. I didn't really realize and recognize it as a Halo game whenever I was rewatching it until I saw the he was in like a tent, or the camera was in like a tent area with the radio, the walkie-talkie, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, this is this is Halo. And then,
I
went on
didn't.
to the Marines. So,
Yeah, I didn't. I thought like I said, I thought it looked good, but I think because we've been so exposed to such a different feel and vibe for Halo that it was hard to recognize what what it is. But now that when you look at it through the perspective and lens of the original Halo, this, now that I think about it, could be the full realization of what Bungie was trying to do with Halo One. It is honestly what I could kind of
mhm.
interpret it as.
Yeah.
But it definitely didn't. It felt very different, and I was honestly very shocked with with the absence of the original Halo music.
Yeah, me
That also
too.
took. When it ended, I'm like, I was just sitting there. I'm like, wait, I didn't hear Halo.
Yeah,
I saw it, but I didn't hear the iconic music.
the music was definitely almost toyish.
Yeah,
It was kind of like, I don't know if cartoony is the right word, but it kind of sounded like the music definitely. was someone else's spin-off of the Halo, and I know that every year in or not every year, but every game, you can tell that the original Halo theme song that you get at the start of a CE, and then it's been, remastered and kind of, added its own little touch throughout every game. I think besides Halo
Right.
4. Um,
Right.
but you can see that there's differences in each one to kind of show you, okay, so, this one is obviously from Halo 1, this is Halo 2, Halo 3, but with this one, it really felt, it didn't,
Foreign.
yeah,
Yeah.
it felt foreign, and it didn't have that kind of like that grasping, like it didn't feel like masculine. How
No,
the
no,
other
you're
ones
right. Yeah.
feel masculine, and like, I mean, Halo, you're a super soldier, you're a Spartan, like you're gonna go kick some ass is what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it really, it felt like a Halo Wars 2 with the graphics
Right.
and stuff. It really felt like the people who, took over that. And personally, I think the Halo Wars 2 graphics had a cartoony vibe to it, so that's why,
Right.
I wasn't really a big fan of it. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that kind of style of games anyway, but graphics wise, I was just kind of like, whatever. I thought the cutscenes looked really good, but that's besides the point.
The yeah, the big thing, that they also said in the trailer was this was game engine showcase. So
Or
you
is
could
a
tell they were
demo,
trying to
yeah,
focus. Yeah, or it was a demo, and it was more or less a showcase for
to come.
what to visually expect for Halo. It's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a story or campaign trailer in terms of the narrative and what to expect, but it's just kind of like this is what's capable, what the Slip Space engine is now capable of. Here it is in the light of Halo and what it could be. Not, there's no guarantee. And then they said at the on their Halo Waypoint article that this is very very beginning. They're still trying to figure out the direction. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's no concrete like, you know, all of the new Halo will be this vibe, but it could be that this is what's capable, and maybe over time it'll change its mood and attitude. But just to see, I think especially with following Halo 4 and Halo 5, there was a lot of pressure on 343 to bring back the nostalgia, and that's what they, in terms of visual color and feel, they did that. Is just
Mm-hmm.
so unexpected and in a
Yeah,
way that no one anticipated, that it was hard to connect those dots. But now
yeah,
that I
and
think about it, I look at this and I see Halo Combat Evolved.
oh yeah, for sure. Especially with like the Halo Combat Evolved, the like classic, um the classic like thumbnail, I guess you could call it, for it, where you have the Spartans on one side, the UNSC, and the
Yeah,
Covenant on the other side, and then on a Halo ring.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I
And
feel like
especially
this
the
is,
lighting. Yeah.
yeah, this is a very respected and built off of that kind of style. And I
Right.
think another reason why people are, because I've been seeing tweets, and I personally am kind of like, I don't really, I have mixed feelings and emotions about this, but I
Hmm.
think you're right with the fact that this is what Bungie was kind of striving for and were wanting to make. But we have to
The
understand, it was
technology. Yeah.
2001. It was before
Yeah.
2001. It was in the, early 2000s and late 90s. They didn't have the technology to do anything close to this, and with the technology that they had, they obviously just, they did an amazing job. But
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting. So I think, so the next thing that I would like to ask you about is what we talked about previously about Halo Infinite. I want to keep saying Infinite or Infinity,
Yeah.
but Halo Infinite, and what we saw on their website. So go ahead and say what
Okay.
you
Yeah.
found.
So yeah, my first thought. So whenever the whole feel and vibe was, definitely the whole trailer was trying to bring you back to that original nostalgia, and then it transitions to new prospects. So it brings you back to a comfortable mindset, and then it from there it wants to make you look towards new horizons. So the whole Halo Infinite title, I feel like what they're trying to do is uh, so basically, like I said, with the whole warthog thing and with everything that's referenced in here, um, especially the emphasis on the environment and the animals, really I didn't at first make connections to, but then when I saw the Halo Infinite title, it made me think that there's, first the first 5 minutes I was like, what could that mean? And then I was looking, and whenever I hear the word infinite, I think of something very sandboxy, open world, like with basically that it could be changed over time without having to put in a new iteration. Something along the lines of like Elder Scrolls or something like that. Like Tamriel Unlimited, I think is one of the titles for Elder Scrolls. So when you get that like endless idea, it makes you think of something not linear in terms of like a normal first person story mode. It's more open and very fluid and flexible, and could change per experience. And that's what I with that whole infinite title. It made me think of basically we're kind of stepping away from what we know Halo to be, which is these linear storylines, which have had their ups and downs, and now we're just kind of putting in a giant workspace for us to evolve over time without having to hop titles. In the
Hmm.
same way that like ESO and the um, the old Republic can add to the storyline without just by adding a DLC, adding a new little patch, and it adds this whole new expanded universe. So I feel like that's kind of the vibe that I got right after seeing the trailer. And then
Yeah.
following that, um, uh, I 20 minutes after watching the trailer, I was trying to wait. I was watching the E3 press conference, seeing if they would talk anymore, and they just left it, and they moved on to just everything, Forza and all that. And so I went to Halo Waypoint, and then I see, if you go to Halo Waypoint, you'll see a news post called "Our Journey Begins." And my biggest question, because that was left unanswered, is this Halo 6? And that was the biggest thing left unanswered. I'm like, it looked cool. I me personally, I've never played Halo 1, 2, or 3, so I am, very, very ignorant about, the actual campaign. I've never played a Halo campaign, so hate me for that. I know you will. So I didn't know what this meant for the Halo franchise in general. My biggest question was, is this Halo 6? I don't see how it connects in any way, shape, or form, except for the Master Chief thing. It just didn't feel like a continuation. But then when I went to the Halo Waypoint article, and it said they've been excited to bring this. They've been working on it for years. It's a new engine, which also explains why it's taken 343 so long to bring this to us, because they are starting from the ground up. But the key thing that they say here, um, the team also heard feedback loud and clear on the amount of time spent playing as the Master Chief in Halo 5. In Halo Infinite, the game will focus on the Master Chief and continue his saga after the events of Halo 5. Once I read that and rewatched the trailer, I was left very like conflicted, because I'm like, I don't know like what to feel. Like I makes no sense. And then in the same article, and this is what's really important. If you scroll down to the bottom of the article, they also announced their brand new 343industries.com site, to look for recruiting for job opportunities. They said in the article that this is very much a Kickstarter. They're not anywhere close to being finished. This is very much a work in progress. So I go to 343industries.com, and the first thing you see is the Slipspace engine, which they're really trying to promote. And then you scroll down. It says Mystery and Wonder, inspired by the most iconic Halo moments to build the future of our legendary franchise. And then under that, you see the deer that in the trailer looked hyper realistic. It looked amazing. It says, "A living, breathing world ripe for exploration and endless gameplay possibilities." And with that, the first thing that came into my brain was open world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a living, breathing world ripe for exploration and endless. You could put infinite there, gameplay possibilities. So I even read that to my girlfriend who has never touched a Halo game, and she said it sounds like Skyrim or like Ark, and I'm like exactly. I'm like, how is that Halo? And then I think back to Mystery and Wonder, inspired by the most iconic Halo moments to build the future of our legendary franchise. It says inspired by the most iconic Halo moments. So my first instinct was that maybe this is like in essence the last Halo title, and could be just the last iteration where it can just evolve over time. So they're going
Well,
to
I don't.
have different. Yeah,
We
go ahead.
so they said on the 15th year anniversary of Halo they had a live stream, and they
Yeah,
confirmed that there would be at least another 15 years of Halo. So I
right.
mean, whether this would be the last Halo title, I don't know. And I think when they said that, I think they were referring to the Master Chief and this entire thing of us fighting the Covenant, the Forerunners, like all the
Yeah,
lore. From what I took from it is that it's still going to be going on, taking place 15 years
yeah.
from now, or 15,
I'm
14
what
years
I'm
from now.
thinking is it may continue on in this. Like I said, like I think of even there's a few games I really don't play open world games, but like the ones that get constant cultivation can go at least a decade and still be fresh and alive. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's where the direction they're taking this, because one of the biggest issues that they had was trying to merge the competitive shooter with the social experience, and Bungie did it, really well. But it seems that they weren't 343 could never get their footing with it. So my first thought was again like open world inspired by the most iconic Halo moments. Maybe you go to different areas and you can experience a Halo 2 relive mission. I have no idea. But again, that key thing, the living, breathing world right for exploration. My question was, and I'm a competitive player, and I kind of that's the lens I view everything through, is how does an FPS fit, like a competitive FPS fit into an open world like
Yeah, for sure.
experience?
And
And yeah,
I think to go over what you said about
hmm
the campaign wise real quick is, and again this is speculation, but I think they're going to be taking a route kind of like how, if anyone here listening has played Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Wildlands, you know that in the game you have all these different sections on the map, and the game is huge. It's a massive world. You have all these different sections, and you can go to whichever section you want, and fight the factions and the drug dealer, or not drug. They are drug dealers, but I can't remember the cartels. You can fight the cartels, and basically go anywhere you want. But as you're completing all these things, it's building up to you fighting the main cartel, like Lord guy, the guy who basically is running the entire thing. So I think with if this is open world, I think it might take either two. It's gonna take either two stances where you can basically go wherever you want and complete the campaign, but do it at different sections, kind of like how Ghost Recon Wildlands does it, or it's gonna make you do it in a way to where you can, or it'll be linear in how you have to do this and then do this. You can't, go off and do something else. But and a reason why I think they might have made it open world is because there's been a ton of people saying in the last, 5, 6 years, and a lot of videos on it where people missed how they couldn't go, explore and be able to get outside of the map like they could, the older Halos. Whereas, the 343 games, especially Halo 5, like you couldn't get out of the map at all or out of the campaign, maps.
Right.
Like you were locked and stuck in. Whereas, Halo 3, you can just look, there's tons of videos of people getting outside the map, finding all these Easter eggs, all these different things, and people really like that. So I think that might also be a reason why 343 is going for this open world vibe, is because people just want to explore. And
And
I mean,
combine that with the, old art style now, you can tell it's definitely trying to bring
yeah,
Bungie back, basically. Yeah.
they're what yeah, they're definitely wanting to get the community what they've been asking for. Um, and so I mean, I think it's great. This really shows that they're going and listening to what people want. I don't I mean, I don't really have a preference. I'm going to play Halo no matter what. I really
Right.
really enjoy the Halo 4 art style cuz that's the game that I started on. Halo 5 art style I wasn't too big of a fan on, but I do like classic Halos. I mean, I like every Halo, honestly.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And and
so
and then the other aspect that I was really thinking about, that I kind of was thinking about, I tried to, once, a few hours after like looking at all this, um I was trying to think about, okay, so how did we get to this point? And I was thinking about, Halo 5, and obviously that's the game that I know the most. But again, with my perspective, I was like, how does competitive fit in? And I'm like, I really can't see it fitting in unless it's like a Destiny thing, and I know they won't do that because Bungie, who started Halo, has already tried to do a competitive arena in open world PvP, PvE, and so they won't
mhm.
try to go that route. And then I realized the Master Chief Collection has been still very, uh, very has kept the attention of 343 for what, 4 years now,
Yeah.
and 3 4 years, and right now they're still working on the biggest update for it, and
Yeah,
especially
they're
to
doing
the
all the
servers and
testing and yeah.
yeah. And so my question was like, why are they doing this when obviously Halo Infinite is on their plate right now? Why are they still trying to focus on these two separate entities? When Halo Infinite seems to be like a culmination of Master Chief Collection in some way, shape, or form. Why still give Master Chief Collection attention? When I realized is that, if you follow the competitive community, a lot of the older pros, 90% of the competitive community, I will say, wants to go back to classic Halo. And Master Chief definitely delivers that, and they like it. They don't like the issues they have. That's why they're doing this big update. So one of the realizations I had was that I have a strong feeling that, competitive will actually be Master Chief, and they'll probably announce a Halo 3 anniversary, which will be like the final like word in Halo competitive, and then keep that separate from Halo Infinite. And Halo Infinite really isn't going to be, a sweat fest. It's just going to be an open world lore and story driven experience, which is great. But for the arena, the one of the things that for me makes Halo Halo will be kept in Master Chief Collection, because the community has spoken. Even though I don't mind. I like the advanced movement. Again, I haven't played the older Halos. I've played them. I haven't worked through them, but it makes sense that, why the question is, why put so much work into something when you're trying to progress in a different direction, is because they're actually separating the two. I think they realized with Halo 5, it was so hard to make both ends of the spectrum happy. The casual player and the competitive player, it was so hard to satisfy both, so they just made a decision to sever the ties and say competitive lies within MCC, because that's basically all who plays MCC now is the competitive people, and then you have the people who just want the Halo story, and then this separation gives 343 freedom to do what they want with the mechanics and the story that without the burden of having to support a competitive shooter. And so that's where I feel like it's going.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
I,
I think it's gonna be extremely difficult based on if we're correct on this, and I think if we were to take out if we were to ignore what 343 said on their website about Halo Infinite and just look at the trailer, arguably anyone could just say, because you know Phil Spencer said it, and a lot of people, it even said, I'm pretty sure it even said it in the video, that this is a demo. If we were just to look at that, it's not an open world, and that they could have just been showing off the animals and all those cinematics just to show people, okay, this is what this engine's able to do, this is what's possible, like, look forward to this. But whenever you add in all this other information about it, it really gives you the vibe of an open world. And like Eagle's saying, trying to tie in competitive in this will be, if they do it, is gonna, in my opinion, be extremely difficult, but then again be really interesting. And I hope that they, if they do tie it in, that the maps would be actually on the ring world, and that I'm not having to, I can't say run because it's classic Halo, but I don't want to have to walk over to, where the map's at. I want to be able to just click some buttons and, get into a lobby and load into a game. So I think, like he's saying, the open world thing might not work. But then again, if anyone here, I'm making another reference to Ghost Recon Wildlands, because this also could be, I feel like that game is a really good way to compare what might happen in Halo Infinite, because in Ghost Recon Wildlands you can, whenever you're at the start screen, you can load in two things. Once you get into a lobby, you can either go to PvP, I'm sorry, just butchered that, PvP, or you can go to the open world, and play with your squad. And if Halo takes that route, I think it's possible, because the PvP maps in Ghost Recon Wildlands are actually from the campaign in the open world. It's just cut off to where you can't be everywhere. So it'll definitely be something interesting. And that's the other thing, is like the boundaries with the maps. Cause like we all know, like we've seen from other Halos, like having the clear boundary of where you can and can't go with, the actual map's earth information is so much better than them just setting up a barrier saying, okay, you can't go this far. So
right.
I, I
And I think
think,
that in and of itself goes against this message they're trying to convey of infinite possibilities, you know, endless gameplay possibilities, living, breathing world. And if you put up like restriction, it kind of goes against that that message. So that's why I feel like I'm sure they'll have some sort of multiplayer experience within this Halo Infinite. Aweless mentioned that there was somewhere it was confirmed there was a Halo or Warzone 2.0.
yeah,
And my thought with that is, so in Halo 5, you go into Warzone, you load up, if it does a match, it makes a match, and then you load into this map, right? And then you get this, but you play out this battle. Imagine that, except instead of it being a lobby, you go to these areas instead of the Battle of Noctis being something you get. You go to this area which is Battle of Noctis, and you never know how many people are going to be in or how many it could be more or less a location and have these scattered out because again it says inspired by the most iconic Halo moments. So it
Yeah.
could be you could have a lot of things, kind of placed throughout the map, and that could be the multiplayer shooter experience, but in terms from a competitive standpoint, I have a hard time seeing how an open world engine can be precise enough to run a competitive shooter with, aim assist, hit scan, I mean, you name it, like,
Yeah, I think in
so
my speculation and what I take from that would probably be that the system will somehow control, okay, well, once you get into this match, basically everything that was around and was happening outside will almost go to like a freeze frame. So like you'll still get animations from like the wind blowing through the trees, and like if there's water,
right,
you'll still get that kind of animation from outside the map, like we see in Coliseum. But whether whether there's other things going on, like because if it's an open world, my guess is that there's gonna be a lot of people being able to access it, like GTA
right,
and all the other like ESO and that kind of thing. So from what I take from it is that those things outside and from if I'm another player and I'm in the server, I won't be rendered in and my actions won't be rendered in for those actually in the game. So
right,
it'll definitely be interesting. I think it could be done, but then again, looking at what Eagle's been saying about 343 and them looking so much at Master Chief Collection, that I honestly think that Halo competitive after this year, or I mean, I'm guessing after this year because we have the Halo 5 Pro event coming up in New
yeah,
Orleans, and then this whole thing going on in
yeah,
2018. That
yeah,
2019, I'm guessing is gonna be the return back to Master Chief Collection, and we're gonna see most likely Halo 3, probably not Halo 2 Anniversary because that was already done back in early 2015. So it definitely gonna be interesting,
yeah,
and
and
we'll just have to see where everything goes.
yeah, and for me, I will say this. Personally, like I said, I came in. Halo 5 has been my real first exposure to the competitive scene, and so I'm not a child of the original mechanics. And also like if if all this comes to pass, personally, it's a little disappointing for me because I was looking forward to something new. But if they refer back to Halo 3 and the Master Chief Collection, it's just going to be a reiteration of what's already existed for like 15 years. And so for me, I hope, to be honest, I hope we're wrong for the whole competitive side, but it seems to me that the evidence doesn't supports, that the evidence supports what we're saying. So, and if that's
Mhm.
the case, then it's kind of like, I kind of don't know how to feel because I was looking forward to, getting Halo 6 when it came out, taking a week off and grinding out and learning these mechanics, but it may just be Halo 3, which is, I know I'm part of a very, very small minority of
Yeah,
preferring these newer mechanics.
and
So,
and
hope,
I
yeah,
think the thing that we're gonna see, and a lot of people might say, "Oh, well, you're wrong. We're gonna love this. We're gonna be so happy. We get to play Halo 3 again on LAN. And don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome. I really think it's awesome that they're going back to the classic style because, like you said about the majority of them being the classic Halo people, and I think that's fine. And the problem that I have with this is that I think what we're gonna see, honestly, is gonna be people start playing Halo 3 again, for the first 3-5 months, maybe first couple events, people are going to be so happy with it, and then it's just going to get stale. I mean, I
Right.
don't see how it couldn't, because the game has been out for so long.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I was saying to Eagle last night, whenever we talked about this before, this recording, the big part that people want Classic Halo to return is nostalgia. As we all know, nostalgia is like the emotions that you get from whenever you're doing something. So I think a lot of people, whenever they want to go back to this, like we'll use this as an example, and I'm not saying that this is true, but I'm just using an example. So let's say Roy and Lunchbox, the pros, and Roy retired, but they were huge and it really really good in Halo 3. So hypothetically, let's say, they really want this, and they're like, yeah, let's go back to Halo 3, and they say we have so much nostalgia from this, and they do have nostalgia from it, and they want to go back, and what they think is going to happen is that they're going to have the same memories, and they're going to enjoy it the way that they did when they were younger, and when Halo 3 was, the hot thing, you know?
Right.
And I think that, not that we can't have good times, because I think there's a lot of new memories that can be made and a lot of fun that can be had, but I don't think it's going to be the way everyone thinks it's going to be. And I feel
Right.
that it would be, and this is the other thing where I think 343 is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they make if they spend time to make a new Halo multiplayer wise, and I'm just focusing on the multiplayer wise because we obviously know they're making Halo Infinite, but if they take the time to make a new multiplayer, for competitive, if it's classic Halo, they risk, if they somehow mess up, they risk a huge backlash and hate from the community. Whereas if they just say, okay, well, we'll return classic art style, we'll return classic movement, and for you competitive, we will just give you, something that you already had that we know that you all really, really liked, or the majority
Right.
majority of you really, really liked, because then
Yeah.
it's taking the stress of, well, are they gonna like this or not, off of them,
Right.
and now it's just like, if something goes wrong in Halo 3, and I'm just gonna call it Halo 3 Anniversary because they're doing all these changes to it. So I'm just gonna call it, the Halo 3 Anniversary, the updated version of it. So with which H3A, I think that if there's problems in it, it's people can't say, okay, with 343, why did you do this with your game? It would be more of, hey, 343, can you change this? Can you fix this? And I think it'll be more positive and better all around for 343. But still very, very interesting and something to think about.
Yeah.
So,
Where do you want to go from there?
I think I think that about wraps it up. So,
Okay.
all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to OFSREagle. Link to his channel will be in the description. Again, big shout out to him for helping me see this information and kind of piece it
Yeah.
together for me, helping me
No problem.
understand this all.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
for sure, dude. All right.
Yeah, and let us know in in the comments how you feel, whether you think we're right or wrong, or even your interpretation. Yeah, I'm gonna have a video coming out about how this affects me and my channel, so you can check it out there as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, take care. Have a great day, and see you guys in the